there a change, especially the hairpin at 7, and then it seems like you guys are pretty violent hits on the turtles? And
yeah, it reminds me the Frontstretch chicane reminds me of Watkins Glen before they redid it. You just really crush the curb, but that's where the speed's at, so you kind of have to. You know, the turn 7, I really won't know a lot about how to feel about that until we get to race, you know. Right now it feels like the dirty air in turn 5 and turn 6 is, because it's so fast, makes it to where you won't be close enough to make a move there all the time, but maybe not. You know, I kind of need a race under it to know about.
So if you're so fast, are you going into that turn very blind as far as what's...
Oh, they're all blind corners, but you know, they're the same for everybody.
Is the Watkins, you compared to Watkins Glen, but it seemed that Watkins Glen was like kind of back to back off so is it as violent, like jarring?
It definitely is violent to me. Yeah, maybe even slightly more.
Martin Truex Jr. actually said he felt like he was getting a concussion every time he went over it.
Yeah, well, I mean, get head upside the head, it doesn't feel good.
No,
But
it doesn't.
I don't know. At some point, that's the deal, I guess.
But it does feel that
Oh,
way.
it doesn't feel good, no.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's supposed to.
There was some made about you guys, your roof rails on the right side, the extensions came off during the race at Talladega. NASCAR said your bolts were tight, but so did you do any digging? Do you know why they came off?
Yeah, the metal fatigued and broke. So, you know, when you put the fins on, the Lexan extensions, I don't know what you call them, just put way more load to the metal and it snapped it. So kind of a study in metallurgy with, you know, different load requirements. Without having any practice or testing, it wasn't something we were expecting, so we have to come back with a heavier duty grade of aluminum.
So when you see that, I mean, obviously you saw it after the race, right?
I didn't know until I found out on the airplane as we were flying back. Somebody texted me.
Really? Because it would seem like, well, are you going to get DQ'd over it? Like, the piece isn't there, right? And so
I don't know.
I mean, I would be afraid, even if there was a good excuse at that.
I think we'd have a hell of a feel.
Okay, yeah.
You know, no practice, no testing, and all that, and it was clearly on the car and tight. It certainly wasn't anything we intended to do. There's not enough of a performance advantage there to play any games there.
Austin, after the taking some laps out there for practice and qualifying, it looked like the turtle section in the chicane was pretty rough. Martin Truex Jr. said it felt like a concussion. Kyle Busch said, I'm glad someone said it. What's it, from your experience hitting that turtle in that front chicane, you know, what does that feel like going around this track?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you sharpen up the angle of the turn, you're gonna have a sharper angle of approach for the car, and it's a lot more perpendicular to hitting that first curb there in the front chicane. And yeah, definitely doesn't feel great, especially on race pressures. And but there's lap time in doing it, so this car's just really rigid, and it's kind of risk you got to take.
This layout, that change and everything going around it, you know, did they change it for the better in your opinion, or how's it been?
I mean, I hated the old turn 8, like, just because I was terrible in it. So like it was like the bane of my existence every lap here. So I enjoy it. I kind of like the downhill section in turn 6, and I always like elevation change, and I feel like that kind of highlights some of what they have here. The hairpin's kind of here nor there. Obviously, it's going to create an area of optimism for racing, but otherwise it's just, you know, a bit different.
With the playoff situation that you're in, how are you approaching this from like stage points or race win strategy?
Win the race. That's all I got to do tomorrow.
So the elevation changes you mentioned, as far as visibility goes, do you have a point of reference picked out, or is it just have a spot where you know where to brake?
I think anytime you have blind corners, it's always good to have kind of a reference point, even like longer corners, you know, where you can't see the end of, like, I think of like Pocono, you know, somewhere where you got a really long flat corner. You know, always good to have reference points on road courses. So, you know, pick those out and have 2 sessions to kind of hone in on that.
Do you race any harder depending on the race purse?
I am not the most motivated by money, so
good.
I couldn't tell you what I'd make if I won the race today, other than into the next round.
Why do you race it?
Why do I race?
The fun? Trophies, the competitiveness, or what is it?
I mean, I'm an overly competitive person. I think everyone in my family is, but there's just something about just being in the car and making laps and maximizing, you know, that that man versus machine element, I guess, is just, it's incredibly satisfying, and it's something you can't really get anywhere else, and I think that's why people get hooked pretty early and can't really shake it.
But money's nice, but that's not the motivating factor for you.
No, I mean, money's important. Money makes the world go round, but and money makes race cars go round, but it's not exactly why I'm here. No.
Thank you.
Speaking of money, it's a lot to repair wrecked race cars. How do you feel about the DVP changes that came out this week?
Well, it sounds like there was a really productive conversation with NASCAR and the crew chiefs, and those guys are a lot more involved than I am as far as what is able to be fixed on pit road and not able to be fixed on pit road. So sounds like a lot of good came of that conversation, and usually when you just sit all the necessary parties down in a room and have a conversation, usually progress is made.
The talk has been of the drivers that have come in after practice. It's been about how rough, how bumpy the front stretch chicane has been. What have been your experiences with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really no different than before, which is you kind of you have to use more curb than in the past, or you always have to use maximum amount of curb. Where I felt like before you could get away with dodging it a little bit more, but it's just really narrow now. So we got to get all we can get on that one. Outside of that, it's as far as roughness goes, it's really not that much different. There's some decent bumps through the new paved area and connecting some of those corners, but I think it's just kind of where you seam asphalt together and add and change stuff up. You're gonna have some of that.
So what do you think of the hairpin?
I like the old track better, but it's commissioned to watch a 6-minute race and start getting a better feel for it and what's gonna happen. But just from a little bit of practice there, being around cars through that area, speeds are a lot higher through turns 5 and 6 now. So you start getting into a little bit more, as much as we hate to say it, dirty air situations, just because there's enough speed through there that you're going to fight a little bit of that. It's nothing crazy, but definitely more than the old way out was. And then obviously you're just, the racetrack's set up for massive dive bombs. So we'll see how that ends up playing out for us.
What's it like going into 6, because you're going uphill? And then what? You can't see it, aren't you? Braking at that point?
Yeah, it's not that bad though. I mean, you think about turn 6 at Road America, it is wildly blind, and it's got 4 times the amount of elevation, if not more. So that part itself is really a non-issue. It's the same exact lift right at the top of a hill, and you're trying to brake over a crest. It's Road America is much more challenging in that regard.
So, do you feel like the hits on the racetrack are dangerous, or that Martin Truex Jr. said he felt like he was getting a concussion every time he went around this track? Are there changes that are needed because of that? Are you feeling it that hard?
I mean, it's not different than the Roval's been at any other point, right? These blue curbs are they put the cars up in the air, and cars just travel limited compared to old cars, right? I think changes were made to the Glen to try and make it better, because we did have data that said you were into those numbers. I don't know what those numbers look like here, honestly, so I can't intelligently comment on it. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely rough. I mean, you think about other parts of it. Turn 3 on the oval here is probably the roughest oval corner entry we go to. So Charlotte's staying true to itself, oval or roval. But yeah, I don't know that it's more than a lot of places we go, but it's certainly on the rough side. It's just how we're trying to make lap time.
Do you look at the data, like you did it Monday or whatever? Do you look at it? Or no?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't worn the mouthpiece very often to collect it. I just haven't been able to be comfortable enough running it to do that very much. So don't have it from our car specifically, but yeah, we pay attention to those that have been running them and collecting the data where we have an idea where it's at. And they do share that with us with permission from said drivers, so that we can see where we're at. So yeah, we'll pay attention to it.
This is Custom Patch Hats. But what makes us custom? Well, that actually begins with you. We're just bringing your unique vision to life. No knockoffs, no lookalikes. Your design is one of a kind. We know hats, we know design, and we know quality. The proof? It's in our production. Hand-stitched with precision and care, with brands you know and trust. A one-of-a-kind patch deserves a one-of-a-kind treatment, all the way to your doorstep. It's how we keep it custom.
Steven Stumpf of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.